I'm sorry, but Roman is still as much of a mystery now as she was last episode. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video is going to be my review of the latest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's episode 3, and it was the long-awaited Roman episode, everybody. Now, what I mean by the whole did it answer questions or did Roman just become more of a mystery here? What I mean by that is the first two episodes of the series, Roman has been kind of the enigma character, the question mark character. She was really a mystery. We didn't know a whole lot about her. We just knew kind of vague highlights of what she was or who she was as a character. And this episode, people were hoping was really going to answer those questions. No, this episode kind of added a bit more to her enigma, in my opinion. It really didn't answer any questions, and it really didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. But that being said, though, it was really nice to get a Roman-focused episode here. And her first duel, she was really good at. I'll be honest with you, she was really good at. But we'll talk about all of this soon enough. So at risk of further rambling, though, let's move on to the actual episode. So the episode is based around the premise of, is Roman a spy for Gohan Corp? And basically, the whole reasoning behind this is Rook had noticed that all of the videos from the Rush duel had been taken down on this world's version of YouTube. Let's just be honest, that's what it is. And Yuga's like, oh, is that all? And then he kind of is starting to think, well, wait a minute, maybe Roman's a spy. Because if you think about it, she's just kind of been there. She knew a little bit about dueling, although she claimed she didn't like it. She knew a lot of things in scary detail that you wouldn't think she would know. And so Rook is kind of like, Roman's a spy. And that's the premise of pretty much the entire episode, is Rook is determined to find out whether or not Roman is a spy for Gohan Corporation. And he's basically saying this to their student council president and Yuga, and of course Yuga ain't listening. He's just working away on his own stuff. And of course, student council president tells him, well, Roman is smart, she's athletic, and she's of course a musician in the school band. She's the lead guitarist. She's famous in that respect. And Rook is like, thanks for all the useful information. You didn't tell us anything that we didn't already know. And finally, now Yuga is paying attention to Rook, and he thinks about it as well, and he's curious about Roman. You know, they're all curious about her, and they really want to learn what her deal is. So Yuga attempts to make a new road by basically inventing this lie detection device and trying to trick Roman into saying something to it to kind of trip her up and get some answers. And that ultimately fails when it blows up in Yuga's face here. So Yuga turns to a different approach. He invites Roman back to his lab where he creates all of his stuff, his workshop where he created Rush Dueling and all this. And it's funny because student council president is like, Yuga, you just invited a girl to your house. You can't do that. And Luke's like, yeah, way to go. And I just found it funny because they were kind of, it was taken really, you could take that in any context you wanted to. I saw that clip this morning when the episode had finally been uploaded, and I looked on Twitter and everybody was going nuts on Yuga Roman shipping already, and I'm like, no, come on. You took that scene entirely out of context, but hey, I guess that's the fandom for you. What can you do? But anyway, Roman is curious, of course, about Yuga and his roads and Rush Dueling, so she takes up on his invitation to come to his workshop here, and we see all these kind of crazy gadgets that Yuga is working on, and his student council president and Luke are kind of watching as Luke's getting tortured by one of these machines there as his head is put into this bubble-like thing, and it fills with water, and he's basically getting a overdone hair rinse. That's essentially what it is there. But ultimately, Yuga wants to learn about Roman, and the best way to do that is through a duel, a Rush duel. And so he invites Roman to duel him. And Roman she declined. She's like, no, I'd really rather not. I'm going to decline. And ultimately, she's convinced to go through with it after Yuga's drone here convinces her, well, come on, you can do it. I'll cheer for you. And newsflash, Yuga's drone is a fanboy for Roman. That was kind of easy to deduce by that. So anyway, she is given this spare dual disc by the drone. Yuga offers her his spare deck to duel with, and ultimately she doesn't really have a choice at this point. She's like, okay, fine, I'll duel. And so they're going to go ahead and rush duel. And when they're doing this, Yuga is trying to convince her, and the others are trying to convince her that you need to drop the guitar case because it's going to be hard to duel with that on your back. And she's like, no, I'm going to keep a hold of the guitar case. And again, it's very interesting because Rook's like, maybe she's hiding her spy stuff in that guitar case, and it's not really a guitar case at all. And so he's determined that while this duel's going on, once Roman puts her case down behind her, he's going to sneak up and he's going to see what's finally in that guitar case. But when Roman sets it down, she takes something out of the guitar case before ultimately turning to Yuga, and their rush duel begins. And their rush duel, let's be honest, starts off, Roman is kind of like a deer in a headlight kind of thing here. Yuga manages to knock Roman down to 1,300 life points on turn 1 because she's unable to summon this really high power monster in her hand. And it's at this point Yuga is convincing her that, hey, now that you can draw a new hand, basically you can make a comeback at any point in a rush duel. And so she draws a new hand, and she's able to ultimately bring out enough monsters to tribute summon to bring out her ace monster, Prima Gitarna. And this monster is a complete surprise to everybody. And Rook's like, well, wait a minute, Yuga, you didn't know that monster? It was your deck. And he's like, no, that card wasn't in my deck. And we learned that it was actually Roman's card, and she carried it in her guitar case for good luck. She had gotten it at the concert of one of her favorite musicians when this musician basically said, this card is my soul, catch it. And she threw it out in the audience, and Roman was able to catch it. And from that point on, she's always carried this card in her guitar case for good luck. Turns out her guitar case really just had her guitar and this one dual monster card in it. But it has a really good effect, though, because Roman is able to pay 1,000 life points to increase the attack of her monsters by 300 points for every monster on Yuga's side of the field. And this does a lot of damage to Yuga as Roman destroys Seven Roads Magician among his other 2 monsters and knocks Yuga's life points down to 600 in one turn. However, Yuga refuses to surrender, he refuses to quit, and he's able to draw out a magic card which allows him to put Seven Roads back in the deck, and he reshuffles, he gets to draw, and he redraws Seven Roads Magician, summons it out, uses its effect, destroys Roman's field, and basically Roman loses the duel at this point. And once Roman loses the duel, Yuga is kind of convincing her that duels are the way that you learn about one another, and the new road is opened, and he's trying to convince Roman that, you can enjoy dueling more, and for somebody that really didn't like dueling, you seem to enjoy it. And she just kind of denies it and kind of walks off, and that's where their interactions with Roman end. However, the whole thing about Roman being a spy does not die down once they learn what's in her guitar case, because after we see the duel between Yuga and Roman, we go back to Gohan Corp, and somebody at Gohan Corp has all the pictures that Roman had taken on her phone of the rush duel and everything. So Roman probably is maybe a spy. I don't know. That question never really got resolved. Really, a lot of questions never got revolved around Roman, but it was nice that she finally got a focus episode and that we did learn a little bit about her and her character here. And yeah, I can't complain when the main female in Yu-Gi-Oh! Gets some focus, because it hardly ever happens. It's the Yu-Gi-Oh! Running trend. They usually always focus everything on the male characters, hardly ever the female characters. So when we get female character focused episodes, they're usually pretty good in my opinion. And this episode was no exception, although really no questions about Roman were answered. We just got 1,000 more. That's just my overall thought on the episode. But with that said, everybody, like I said, great episode. I give this episode, though, a 9.5 out of 10. It was a great episode. Roman duel great for somebody that really didn't care about dueling. And it just makes me want to know more about her character now, darn it. I mean, I thought this episode was going to answer some questions. It really just gave me more, and now I want the answers to those questions, which makes me more vested into watching more of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. But those are just my thoughts about it. But as always, everybody, in the comments section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts were about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What were your thoughts? Just let me know in the comment section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. All right, everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.